Welcome to our deep dive today, all about finding your own North Star.
Ooh, I like that.
We'll be using excerpts from Martha Beck's book, Finding Your Own North Star, to help you uncover a path that truly lights you up,
Yeah,
even when life feels like a confusing maze,
absolutely.
ready to find your way.
Let's do it.
So think of your North Star as that unique purpose
Right.
that makes your soul sing.
That's it.
And it's not about a specific job or achievement.
No.
It's more like a guiding principle for how you want to live your life.
Exactly.
Okay, I love that. But how do we actually tune into that inner compass,
Yeah, that's the question.
especially when things feel chaotic?
Right.
Well, Martha Beck talks about these internal compasses. Think of them as these subtle cues built right into you.
Hmm.
She argues that if you pay attention to your energy levels,
Yeah.
your memories,
Uh-huh.
even your fears,
Okay.
you can start to see a pattern and figure out what truly resonates with you.
Interesting.
So it's not about some mystical vision
Nope.
or waiting for a bolt of lightning.
Yeah.
It's about noticing those everyday signals we often ignore.
Exactly.
For example, have you ever noticed how your energy levels completely shift
Oh, yeah.
depending on what you're doing?
Big time.
Beck actually quit her unfulfilling academic job
Really?
and felt this huge surge of energy.
Wow.
And not just physical energy,
Oh,
but a deeper sense of aliveness and purpose.
I see.
Makes so much sense.
It does.
I know I feel totally drained after certain meetings,
Oh, yeah.
but then I'll get lost in a creative project and feel like I could work for hours.
Oh, wow.
It's like night and day.
That's amazing.
That's a perfect example.
It is.
So I'm curious, what types of activities or environments make you feel that way?
Yeah.
Like you could keep going and going.
Let me think about that.
Let me think about that. I definitely feel that spark when I'm writing or working on a creative project.
Yeah.
It's like I lose all track of time.
Interesting. And that actually ties into Beck's second internal compass, memory. Yeah, she noticed that people have this almost super memory for things that really resonate with their true selves.
So it's not just about having a good memory in general.
Right.
It's about what you remember effortlessly.
Exactly.
Right.
Beck talks about Rosie O'Donnell, who has an uncanny memory for music.
Wow.
She can recall lyrics and melodies from years ago with perfect clarity.
Really?
Beck argues this is because music aligns with Rosie's core essence.
That makes me think about how I can easily remember grammar rules and vocabulary from different languages.
Uh-huh.
But ask me to recall historical dates,
Yeah.
and I'm totally lost.
Right.
Maybe that's a clue about my own North Star.
It could be. What's fascinating is how these seemingly random areas of strength
Yeah,
might actually be signposts pointing us towards our purpose.
I like that.
So, thinking about your own life,
Yeah.
what comes to mind when you think of super memory?
Hmm.
What do you find yourself effortlessly remembering?
That's a good question. I do find that I can easily recall details from conversations,
Uh-huh.
like specific phrases or the way someone said something.
Oh, interesting.
Maybe that's connected to my love for language and communication.
It's definitely possible, and it's not just about intellectual knowledge either.
Okay.
Beck argues that our emotions are another powerful compass.
Okay.
She noticed that people who are following their North Star often experience this natural high,
Yeah.
a sense of joy, even when they're making difficult decisions.
So it's not just about feeling happy all the time.
Right.
It's more about that deep sense of satisfaction,
Yeah.
even when things are challenging.
Exactly. She gives this example of a client named Celia who was miserable in her job.
Ooh.
Every session was filled with complaints and frustrations.
Wow.
But then Celia finally quit,
Okay.
and her entire demeanor changed. She was
Mhm.
practically skipping down the street.
Wow.
It was like this huge weight had been lifted.
That's powerful.
Yeah.
It really shows that sometimes the most difficult decisions,
Yeah.
like walking away from something that isn't serving you,
Mm.
can actually lead to the most fulfilling outcomes.
Absolutely. And this idea of trusting your gut feeling leads us to another compass,
Okay.
intuition.
Intuition.
Yes.
Like those gut feelings that sometimes tell us to do something or go somewhere,
Yeah.
even if it doesn't make logical sense.
Yes. She even shares this story about having a sudden craving for veal cutlets.
Veal cutlets.
But not just any veal cutlets.
Okay.
She intuitively knew exactly which store would have the freshest, most perfect ones.
Interesting.
She even calls it her cutlet revelation.
Okay, now I have to hear this story.
Well, Beck describes this feeling of absolute certainty washing over her.
Hmm.
She just knew where to go, and when she got to the store, she was right.
Wow.
The veal cutlets
Yeah.
were exactly what she had envisioned.
Huh.
Beck even ties this experience to the concept of psi events,
Okay.
those seemingly paranormal occurrences that suggest we might have hidden intuitive abilities that science can't fully explain.
So maybe our intuition is trying to tell us something, even if it doesn't involve finding the perfect cut of meat.
Exactly.
It makes you wonder how many times we dismiss those subtle nudges or that inner voice
Yeah,
without even realizing it.
totally. And the key is to start paying attention to those intuitive whispers
Okay.
and see where they lead. It might be surprising what you discover.
It's also fascinating. Okay, so we've talked about energy levels,
Mm.
memory,
Uh-huh.
emotions,
Yes.
and intuition.
Right.
What's the fifth compass?
The fifth one might surprise you. It's fear.
Fear.
Now, you might think fear is a sign to run in the opposite direction,
Right.
but Beck suggests we look at it differently.
Okay.
She actually sees fear as a potential guide,
Interesting.
highlighting the importance of facing fears that stand between you and your North Star.
So instead of letting fear paralyze us,
Right.
we should use it as a compass to figure out what we truly desire.
Think about it. What are those feels that keep popping up for you? The ones that make you hesitate or hold you back. Beck believes those fears often point towards something we deeply want but are afraid to pursue.
That's interesting.
She even made a personal commitment to face one fear every single day.
Wow, that's dedication.
Yeah.
It makes me think about how often we stay stuck in comfortable situations
Yeah.
because we're afraid of the unknown.
Mm-hmm.
But maybe if we lean into those fears,
Yeah,
we might unlock some incredible opportunities.
absolutely. And Beck provides a helpful framework for navigating those moments of transition.
Okay.
A 4-stage cycle that she calls the change cycle.
Okay, tell me more about this change cycle.
Yeah.
What are the 4 stages?
Well, the first stage, which Beck calls square one, death and rebirth, can feel a bit intense.
Okay.
It's that initial phase of change where everything feels chaotic and uncertain.
Uh-huh.
Imagine that feeling of being thrown into a foreign land without a map.
Oh, I've definitely been there.
Yeah.
It's like that feeling of starting a new job
Right.
or moving to a new city
Yeah.
where everything is unfamiliar. You don't even know where to begin.
And Beck actually compares this stage to the initiation rituals of the Xhosa tribe
Okay.
in the Kalahari Desert.
Really?
The initiates are stripped of their identities, their clothes are burned, their names are changed,
Wow.
their bodies are painted.
That's intense.
It's a symbolic death of their old selves to make way for a new identity to emerge.
So it's like a complete stripping away of everything you thought you knew.
Right.
No wonder it feels so disorienting.
It can be, but Beck emphasizes that this death and rebirth phase is essential for growth.
Okay.
It's an opportunity to shed old patterns and beliefs that no longer serve you and create space for something new to emerge.
That makes sense. So once we've gone through that initial upheaval of death and rebirth,
Yeah.
what comes next? So once we've gone through that initial upheaval of death and rebirth, what comes next?
Next comes square two, dreaming and scheming, and it's my favorite part.
Ooh, that sounds fun.
Imagine having a blank canvas and being told to paint your ideal life. No limitations, no restrictions, just pure possibility.
Wow.
That's the energy of square two.
That sounds amazing. But how do we actually tap into that kind of limitless thinking?
Right.
It's easy to get bogged down by practicality and what we think is realistic.
Beck has a fun exercise for that.
Okay.
She suggests writing a pretend magazine article about your future self 5 or 10 years down the line. Answer questions like, what have you accomplished? What wisdom have you gained? What are you most excited about?
Yeah.
It's a way to bypass those self-imposed limitations and really let your imagination soar.
I love that it's like giving yourself permission to dream big without censoring yourself.
Exactly.
And speaking of surroundings, I remember Beck talks about nesting during this phase. What's that all about?
It's fascinating. She noticed that during times of transition,
Yeah.
people often feel this urge to rearrange their homes, redecorate, or even move to a new space. It's like our physical surroundings become a reflection of the inner transformation we're going through.
So if I suddenly feel the urge to paint my walls a bold new color, that might be a sign of deeper changes brewing within me.
It's definitely possible. Beck even suggests paying attention to the objects we choose for our homes.
Oh, like what?
The artwork, the books, the furniture.
Right.
They can offer subtle clues about the direction we're heading in.
That's so interesting. It's like our homes become these external representations of our internal landscapes.
Exactly. And once we've spent some time dreaming and scheming, it's time to bring those dreams into reality. This is where we enter square three, building and testing.
Okay, so this sounds like the phase where things get real, where we have to roll up our sleeves and put in the work.
Exactly. Beck emphasizes that this phase requires effort, persistence, and a willingness to experiment.
Uh-huh.
It's not always going to be easy, and there will likely be setbacks along the way.
So it's not just about having a great vision, it's about taking action and being willing to adjust course as needed.
Right.
And what about the importance of community during this phase?
Yeah.
Beck talks about that, right?
Absolutely. She emphasizes the importance of building a supportive network of people who are aligned with your vision.
Yeah.
These are the folks who will cheer you on, offer guidance, and help you navigate the inevitable challenges. Remember, you don't have to do this alone.
That's so important. Having a supportive community can make all the difference, especially when you're facing those inevitable moments of doubt.
Definitely.
Okay, so we've dreamt, we've schemed, we've built, we've tested what happens when we finally reach the end of this cycle.
That brings us to square four, the promised land. It's that feeling of finally arriving at a place of alignment, success, and fulfillment. It's like reaching the summit of a mountain after a long and challenging climb.
Sounds amazing. But I imagine there are still challenges even in the promised land.
Beck warns against complacency and the tendency to cling to what we've achieved out of fear of losing it. She encourages us to stay open to new possibilities even when things are going well. Remember, growth is a continuous process, and the journey doesn't end just because we've reached a milestone.
That's such a great reminder. It's like that saying, the only constant is change. We have to be willing to embrace the next cycle, the next challenge, the next adventure.
Exactly. And that, my friend, is the essence of the change cycle, a continuous process of growth, transformation, and self-discovery.
Wow, what an incredible deep dive into finding your own North Star.
Yeah.
We've covered so much ground from those subtle internal compasses to the 4 stages of transformation.
Yeah.
I feel like I have a whole new toolkit for navigating life's twists and turns.
Me too. And remember, these concepts are just the starting point.
Right.
The real magic happens when you start applying them to your own life.
Absolutely. So as you continue on your journey, consider this. What action will you take today to move closer to your North Star? Maybe it's reflecting on those areas of supermemory.
Or perhaps it's facing a fear that's been holding you back. And don't forget to pay attention to those subtle whispers of intuition. You never know where they might lead you. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into finding your own North Star. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep shining bright.